Hello YouTube, this is Crosscheck and welcome to the May 21st update from the Microsoft Flight Simulator team. Today's update is quite short, but exciting nonetheless. The team wants us to know that we are only 1 week away from the episode 8 of the Discovery series, which is IFR, Instrumental Flight Rules. So yeah, hang on tight because that is happening May 28th. Now after this, on early June, you can expect the Partnership Series update to be released. Now regarding the alpha, a patch is coming soon. They have been working in implementing a couple of fixes based on the feedback by the community. On the next week with episode 8, they will also be mentioning the highlights for the upcoming update along the release date. The full patch notes can be expected once the patch is released. Now, if you are still waiting for an invitation, well, today they are going to be sending more invitations. Hopefully you will be able to join us if you are already not, unless you are not interested in the alpha, which is extremely valid because there is something extremely wonderful about opening a piece of software for the first time and everything working as intended. Anyway, that is pretty much it for this update regarding information. Let's now jump over to the images. Because of this update being as brief as it was, I can dedicate a little bit more time to the images, and I think in this case it is very special because we got very interesting images. Let's start with this image by Symptom112. Now we got a couple of very interesting things. This is clearly the 747. If I had to guess, I would say this lens is around 35 millimeters and the aperture of maybe 1.8, maybe 1.4, but something really interesting that we hadn't seen before. As far as I am aware, we can see a couple of hands here. So clearly, in the new simulator, we are getting the pilot and the co-pilot modeled. That is extremely interesting. Of course, they are out of focus, so we can't really see the level of detail they have, but it looks quite decent from here. I am going to be honest, this is something I thought the developers were going to avoid, but it's really nice to be able to see this. Hopefully we will see some more details regarding the crew. Let's now jump into the next screenshot by King6E. At first it seems to be just another image for what I can imagine is the 172 Cessna having a view into some vegetation. This is one of the great things about having wings over the head, that you have some amazing visibility below you. But ignoring the scenery, if we go to the top right corner of this image, we will see a 54. And if I'm not wrong, this represents the frames per second. It is worth mentioning this image is in 1080. I am not sure if it has been compressed. I assume it hasn't, but in 1080, this person with the quality you see here was running at 54 frames per second. What are his computer specs? That is something we do not know. He may have a beast of a computer or he may have a beautiful potato. But if I try to compare a scenery such as this in, I don't know, something like X-Plane, I don't know if my computer, which I think it is quite beefy, I don't think X-Plane 11 would be anywhere near those frame rates. Anyway, let's continue to another screenshot. This is by Speed Wobbles. Now the width of this one is 1440, so we get a little bit more of resolution over here. And we do have one of the most majestic rainbows I have ever seen. I was going to say in a simulator, but to be honest, I don't think I've ever seen a rainbow in a flight simulator except for this one. And if you look carefully, there is actually a double rainbow. But the second one is quite faint. It is really interesting to see on the top left of the image the blue sky, and then you can see the immense clouds on the right, and you can see the rain, and that rainbow seems to be beautifully simulated and rendered. Moving on, the next one by Anarch 1A 2004 TJ. Here we have the beautiful TBM with, of course, having a photographic session on the golden hour. Beautiful sunset on the back. This allows us to see the beautiful detail on the surface. And because of the low light, we can also see the light from the wing on our right, beautifully illuminating the ground. This image just goes to show the beautiful illumination that we are getting in this flight simulator. Now, I almost missed this one, but on the top left corner of this image, we have a 75. So as well, I am expecting this to be the frame rate. And being here in the ground, where I am assuming we are surrounded by many objects, having a 75 frame rate with this quality, that is very, very good. What are your thoughts regarding these frame rates we've seen? Moving on, this image is by Super Delphinus. This one is at 1440, flying at 11,000 feet, clearly on a 1,000 feet per minute descent, flying at around 100 knots, with a 206 heading. Other than that, we have a nice ceiling, some nice clouds over us, pretty good visibility, and beautiful terrain. Now this image is by operator land 468. This is in 1080, and there are a couple of things I find quite interesting. First of all, that structure has a pretty decent amount of detail, as also the cone and the ground crew. Speaking about the ground crew, this guy seems to have quite a few polygons. It looks really nice. The amount of detail it has, it's really cool. Also, it seems like it has been raining and the ground shader looks really nice. We have those kind of puddles of water forming on the surface. It has some great texture and the reflections look just awesome. It does give the impression of having ray tracing now and then. And now taking our attention to the engine, it looks just wonderful. I think the model and the textures are brilliant. Moving on, we have another image by operator land 468, same 1080, and now we have the baggage cart. Again, I think the details just look absolutely brilliant. The tires, the bolts, the materials, there is a lot of detail. Now the only thing that kind of bugs me about this image is that the baggage carts are cloned. The three of them are basically the same, they just repeat themselves. This is of course being picky, but I find it hard to ignore and it kind of ruins the immersion a little bit. I hope this is still work in progress and that we will have a little bit of variation. I mean, we can kind of have the same baggage, but maybe in a different configuration. But yeah, I should stop being so picky. Anyway, bringing my attention into the aircraft, the cargo door looks really good. That is some quite nice attention to detail. Now let's check out this image by Sulfonic Carp 982. If I'm not mistaken, this is the Cessna 152, and I think it is a great image. The quality is kind of weird. Maybe we need a little bit of anti-aliasing, and there seems to be some glow. I am not sure what is going on, but the composition I think is absolutely wonderful. The grass is looking quite nice. And the fence in the back, I don't know if it's because of the blur, but it doesn't look perfect. It looks kind of bent, but I think that is really good because it gives a more realistic feel to the image. So that's absolutely awesome. Now we have another image by Sulfonic Carp 982. This one in Lukla Airport, obviously. I'm not sure if we've seen images from Lukla Airport, but I am amazed by the level of detail that we have here. Lukla is obviously a very important airport, very well known. Every single flight simmer needs to make an approach at Lukla Airport, and it just boggled my mind in other simulators that they wouldn't give the attention that the Lukla Airport deserves, this being regarding the buildings and most importantly the slope being accurate. And I think this looks absolutely brilliant. I can't wait to go and have some terrible accidents in this airfield, or as they like to call it, airport. Now we have another screenshot by Sulfonic Carp 982. This time we can see the majestic 747 with all of its glory. Again, it seems it is the golden hour. a beautiful sunset. We cannot see the sunset, but it is quite interesting the way it reflects the light from the sun. The way the windows have a intense glow, and the transparency that can be seen on the windows in the front, and then the non-transparency in the windows that go from the front middle all the way to the back. I am not sure that I've ever seen lighting work like this in any other flight simulator, but I think it is an impressive level of detail that we are getting here. Absolutely astonishing. It is quite impressive. Now we have an image by R4 Microts. This is in 1440, and this time we have some night illumination. And I must say it is very impressive. I just like how, like in real life, you can see the different areas being illuminated by different types of light. Here in the front we have a lot of yellow, and then we have some roads that have yellow illumination, but then we have the white ones, and they are mixed in a way that looks quite realistic. I am quite impressed with the night illumination. And now, having a look at the top left corner of this image, we can see a 40, and it does appear as it is a frames per second marking. So in this scenario, our 4 microds was at a 40 frame per second experience. Let's continue with an image by Bear811. It is quite a simple image, but a beautiful image nonetheless. That 747 looks astonishing. And we can't see much detail on the clouds on the bottom right, but the little we can see, they look pretty good. Now the reflections on the belly seem to be quite accurate to their surrounding. As far as I can tell, I can see those clouds and that terrain, and the way its own wing is reflected. This is really nice. This is really nice. This image is by Symptom112, and this is a very interesting picture. Obviously, this is during nighttime, and we can see the beautiful illumination inside the cockpit. We can see the pilot in command and the second officer. If I am not mistaken, I think the pilot in command is a female, or maybe a gentleman with a bun. Anyway, I think it looks great, and the detail that can be seen on the cockpit from outside is just brilliant. What a impressive image. Again, this image by Symptom112. Now the 747 in the air with a beautiful backdrop. I have no idea where this mount is located, but it looks pretty nice. And this is the last image by Symptom112 again. And here we can see a little bit more of detail on the cockpit of the 747. The CDUs are looking absolutely fantastic. I think they have an amazing level of detail. The knobs, the screens, the landing gear. I absolutely think this looks like payware quality aircraft. Now, something really interesting on the screen. It may seem like the airport is presented in a graphic and your position is shown relative to the airport. Please do excuse my ignorance, I am not sure what this system is. This being a feature on a default aircraft, it means the systems are quite complex. I really can't wait to see more information regarding all of the systems that will be available on the default aircraft. And okay, that was pretty much it. These images I think were quite interesting. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please do share with me your thoughts, and if I missed anything, please do let me know and help me out of my ignorance. Anyway, if you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like, and if you want to see more of this content, be sure to subscribe. Thank you very much for sticking around. I want to send out some special thanks to my Patreons. As always, Punda and Lobar Vegeta, thank you very much for your support, guys. Now a newer member as well, Devin Cutting, thank you very much. And the newest of them all, Robert Pizza, who is actually CEO and founder of Eastern Hops for FSX Steam Multiplayer Network. I can't wait to hop with these guys once the new Microsoft Flight Simulator comes up, and I am sure you guys will be interested in this as well. So I will leave a link to its Facebook page in this video's description. Anyway, again, thank you very much. Happy flying, cross-check out.